The tragic fate of Hercules shows us how even the strongest men can fall. Raymond Fernandez was built like a god. His muscles were huge. His presence was scary. When he walked into the ring, people knew they were seeing real power. But behind all that strength was a quiet family man who loved his 7 children. His story takes us from small wrestling towns to the biggest stage in sports entertainment. Then it shows us how the business he loved took his life too soon. Raymond Fernandez was born in New York City on May 7, 1956. His life changed when he was just 6 years old. His mother died from cancer. His father packed up the family and moved them to Tampa, Florida. This move would shape everything that came next. In Florida, young Raymond discovered wrestling. He competed in high school at AP Leto High School. His natural size and strength made him stand out. Wrestling became his path forward. In 1979, Raymond started his pro wrestling career. He trained under Hiro Matsuda. Matsuda was known for being tough on his students. He pushed wrestlers to their limits. This training made Raymond strong and skilled from day one. He needed those skills because the wrestling world was brutal. He started in small territories across Florida and Texas. These were the proving grounds where wrestlers learned their craft. During those early years, he was known as Hercules Hernandez. The name fit perfectly. He looked like the mythical strongman. He moved from territory to territory, building his reputation. In 1982, he joined NWA Central States. There, he found real success. He teamed up with Dewey Robertson. Together, they won the NWA Central States Tag Team Championship twice. He also held the Central States television title for 6 months. These wins proved he could compete with the best. His biggest test came against Harley Race. Race was a former NWA World Champion. He was wrestling royalty. Their feud included steel cage matches and brass knuckles. The story got national attention. This rivalry showed that Hercules could work with top talent. He could tell a story in the ring. He was more than just a muscle-bound giant. Hercules kept moving through the territory system. He joined Jim Crockett Promotions and became the Masked Assassin II. When Jimmy Valiant unmasked him, he moved to Bill Watts' Mid-South promotion. There he became Mr. Wrestling III. These masked characters let him reinvent himself in each territory. He showed he could adapt to different roles and storylines. He feuded with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He joined the stable Devastation Inc. with future WWF star Ted DiBiase. All of this experience prepared him for what came next. In 1985, Hercules joined the World Wrestling Federation. This was the big leagues. The WWF was becoming a national powerhouse under Vince McMahon. At first, Hercules was managed by Freddie Blassie and Slick, but his career really took off in late 1986. That's when his contract was sold to Bobby the Brain Heenan. This was huge. The Heenan family was the most important heel group in the company. Being part of it meant you were a top villain. Hercules dropped the Hernandez name. He became just Hercules. His character was a chain-swinging brute. His muscles got even bigger. He looked terrifying. The fans loved to hate him. His role was to be the strong man that heroes had to overcome. He had epic feuds with Billy Jack Haynes. Their rivalry was about who had the better full Nelson submission hold. It led to a bloody chain match at WrestleMania 3. The match was brutal and showed his toughness. One of his most famous moments came with the Ultimate Warrior. They had a tug-of-war with a steel chain. Both men pulled so hard that the chain snapped in half. This moment showed fans just how strong both wrestlers were. It became legendary. Even though Hercules usually lost these big feuds, they made him important. He was the gatekeeper. If you could beat Hercules, you were ready for the top stars. Everything changed in late 1988. Bobby Heenan sold his contract to Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. DiBiase wanted to own Hercules like property. He wanted his own personal slave, but Hercules refused. He said he was owned by no man. This moment turned him into a hero overnight. Fans loved seeing him stand up to both DiBiase and Heenan. The storyline about fighting against ownership was powerful. It showed that Hercules could connect with fans emotionally. He proved his new hero status by defeating Virgil, DiBiase's bodyguard, on Saturday night's Main Event Mountain. This was his battle for freedom. The crowd was behind him completely. But even as a fan favorite, he never won a world championship. The company saw him as a strong mid-card performer, not a main event star. Following his singles run, Hercules entered a new phase. He was repackaged as a tag team wrestler. He partnered with Paul Roma. Together they became Power and Glory. Slick managed the team. They turned heel through a memorable attack on the Rockers. After a match, Roma was still in the ring when the Rockers came out. An argument started. Then both Hercules and Roma attacked Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. This established their new bad guy personas. Hercules provided the power to Roma's glory. His job was to bring credibility and strength to the team. Their biggest feud was with the Rockers. At SummerSlam 1990, Power and Glory injured Shawn Michaels' knee. This forced Marty Jannetty to wrestle alone. The storyline was compelling television. They competed at major events like WrestleMania 7 and Survivor Series. Despite their strong booking, they never won the WWF Tag Team Championship. When Roma left the company in late 1991, Hercules' WWF run was over. He departed in 1992. After leaving WWE, Hercules signed with World Championship Wrestling in 1992. He became the Super Invader, a masked Oriental assassin character. His manager was Harley Race, his old rival from the Territory days. This was clever storytelling that connected his past to his present. His WCW run was brief, but let him work for another major American promotion. He competed at WrestleWar 1992 and Clash of the Champions XX before leaving later that year. His greatest championship success came in New Japan Pro Wrestling. There he formed the Jurassic Powers with Scott Norton. Both men were powerhouse wrestlers who complemented each other perfectly. In August 1993, they defeated the Hellraisers to win the IWGP Tag Team Championship. This was major. The IWGP titles were respected worldwide. They held the belts for 5 months and defended them 3 times successfully. In January 1994, they lost the titles back to the Hellraisers. This Japanese success was crucial to his legacy. While he was valued in American wrestling, he was considered championship-worthy in Japan. The victory proved his skills went beyond just being a muscular showpiece. He could work at an elite level anywhere in the world. The Jurassic Powers disbanded after losing to the Steiner brothers in August 1994. This ended his time with NJPW. Throughout the 1990s, the wrestling business was taking its toll on performers. The schedule was brutal with no real off-season. Wrestlers worked through injuries and pain. The pressure to maintain a larger-than-life physique was intense. Many wrestlers turned to steroids and other substances to meet these demands. The muscle-bound powerhouse look that defined Hercules' career came with a price. A 2014 study found that mortality rates for professional wrestlers were up to 2.9 times higher than regular men in America. The demanding physical nature of the business was part of the problem. So was the drug culture that existed in wrestling during the 1980s and 1990s. Steroid abuse became linked to cardiovascular disease and heart problems. The very look that made wrestlers like Hercules famous was slowly killing them. On March 6, 2004, Raymond Hercules Fernandez passed away in his sleep. He was only 47 years old. His wife said the cause was heart disease. His death was not an isolated incident. It was part of a larger pattern of premature deaths in professional wrestling. Many of his contemporaries from that era died young. Davey Boy Smith died of a heart attack at 39. The Von Erich family lost 5 of 6 sons to various causes, including suicide and overdoses. These deaths were symptoms of systemic problems in the wrestling industry. For decades, the business demanded everything from its performers. The physical toll was enormous. The psychological pressure was crushing. The cultural expectations pushed wrestlers to dangerous extremes. Hercules' death was not random bad luck. It was a foreseeable consequence of the environment that created his famous persona. Outside the ring, Raymond Fernandez was known as a gentle and quiet family man. He had 7 children with his wife Debbie. His peers described him as well-liked and kind. This was completely different from his scary on-screen character. The contrast between his real personality and his wrestling persona shows how much he gave to entertain fans. He transformed himself completely for the business he loved. His legacy is complex. In the WWF, he was a reliable mid-card performer who never reached the main event. He was the gatekeeper who made heroes look good by losing to them. But he was also a skilled wrestler who could adapt to different roles. His face-turned storyline about refusing to be owned showed his ability to connect with audiences. His success in Japan proved he was more than just a pretty face with muscles. Hercules represented both the best and worst of his era in wrestling. He was part of memorable storylines that fans still talk about today. His physical presence was incredible. His willingness to reinvent himself showed true professionalism. But his early death from heart disease illustrates the hidden costs of that time period. The pressure to maintain an impossible physique, the grueling schedule with no breaks, the culture that normalized dangerous practices. When we remember Hercules, we should think about both sides of his story. He was a talented performer who brought joy to millions of fans. His matches and storylines were entertaining. His championship success in Japan validated his abilities on a global stage. He was more than just a strong man character. He was a complete wrestler who could work in any role the company needed. But we should also remember the price he paid. His death at 47 was a tragedy that could have been prevented. The wrestling industry of his era failed to protect its performers. The systemic problems that contributed to his early death affected countless others. His story serves as a reminder of how the business has changed and why those changes were necessary. Today's wrestling world is different. There is more awareness of health issues. Drug testing is more common. Wrestlers have more control over their careers. The extreme pressures that defined the 1980s and 1990s have been reduced. But the lessons from Hercules' era remain important. Entertainment should not come at the cost of human lives. Raymond Hercules Fernandez deserved better than dying at 47. He deserved to see his children grow up. He deserved to enjoy the legacy of his wrestling career. Instead, he became another cautionary tale from an era that demanded too much from its stars. His memory should inspire us to value the health and well-being of performers over the spectacle they create. The mighty Hercules was strong enough to break chains with the Ultimate Warrior, but he wasn't strong enough to overcome the systemic problems of professional wrestling. His tragic fate reminds us that even the mightiest among us are human. They deserve protection, respect, and the chance to live full lives beyond the spotlight that made them famous.